Hey guys, welcome back to Infinity Outdoors. Sitting here January 15th, and we had a cold front move through this morning, and it's low 30s with wind gusts into the 25-30 mile an hour range, so no fishing today. So sitting out in the garage doing some stuff and just tinkering around, and figured I'd do another DIY video for you, since the one that we did on the live bait floats that we did a year or so back is done so well, and I do appreciate that. The channel appreciates it, guys. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna do a bait bucket / Livewell fish keeper type thing. Works perfect for bank fishermen, kayak fishermen. You got a John boat or a little boat that doesn't have a Livewell or anything like that on it, this right here is going to be something that helps you out and get you going. So what we're going to do, we're going to make one of these right here, 5-gallon bucket, float bucket. So what we'll do, you've probably seen it in some of the other videos. I've used it in some of the videos here, but I'm gonna walk you through step by step all the parts and everything you need to get it done and make it. Pretty long process because there's a lot of drilling, getting holes done and everything. But enjoy the video. You know, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for us, please help us grow. I'm gonna try to get out this year and get a lot more videos done, but I'm just everyday Joe, man. I'm not, you know, professional YouTuber or anything like that. Not like Norm back there on the TV. Actually, I forgot to turn the TV off back there. Was watching Norm's latest video. So, but help me grow the channel. Want to get going on it and get it going this year best we can. Going to do some tournament fishing and have tournament videos on there, as well as getting the new / old boat. I about got it ready, water ready to get going this spring and everything. So, got some big things planned. Hopefully, work in life will let me do them. So, let's get started. All right, guys, so first thing you're gonna need is 5-gallon bucket. Doesn't matter what brand you get anything. This one just happens to be a Home Depot bucket. I actually found this one while I was out fishing one day. But all kinds of places you can get them. You can get Lowe's buckets. They're like $3 a bucket. Walmart sells 5-gallon buckets for a couple bucks. If you got a Firehouse subs, those are $2 a bucket with lid and everything. Problem is you got to clean them out. And typically it's their pickle buckets. Smells like pickles and takes quite a while of having it cleaned and sitting out in the sun and airing out and everything. But that's what this one here that I made is Firehouse subs. But for this video, we're going to do Home Depot 5-gallon bucket. You're going to need a cordless drill bit for your holes in your bucket. I use a 3/8 bit for the holes, tape measure, tie wraps. This is optional if you want to use it. I take the metal handle off and put a rope handle on it, so I'm using some 550 paracord for that, and a couple old washers and some old nuts, and that's just to hold the line to it. And then of course you're going to need a full noodle. I love these things, man. There's all kinds of hacks for them. I'll do a few more videos on it, on the hacks there, but we'll get everything going. But this, you're going to need something to cut noodle with, which I'll get in a minute. I've got a serrated knife that I use just for that, and a Sharpie. So I'm going to get those two items and we're going to get going. So what we got is just it's a kitchen knife. Stole out of the kitchen from the wife. But it's got a serrated blade, does a great cutting of the full noodles, and a standard Sharpie. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this handle. The reason I don't like the handles, they're too hard and they're not pliable enough for, like, on the bank of being able to pull in and out. And if you're on a kayak or a John boat and everything, last thing you want to do is get 25 crappie in here that you're wanting to take home, pull it up out of the water, and the handle snap off of it. So we're going to take that off first. I'm not saving this handle here for anything, so I'm just going to cut it. So now we got a 5-gallon bucket, no handle on it, we're good to go. So first thing I'm going to do, what I found on making these, you don't want to do holes, as you see here, don't want to do holes all the way to the bottom. Because when you do, you pull it up out of the water with your bait in it, because I use it a lot for bank fishing when I'm catfishing. So I want water down here, that way when I pull it out of the water, my bait fish, my bluegill and shad still have water to swim around in. So tape measure, as you can see here, I go about 4 inches from the bottom, and then the holes, I don't go all the way to the top. I am 5 inches from the top where the hose line. So we're gonna do the same on this one. So I'm gonna measure down, probably gonna do 4 and 4 on this one. You can do it however you want. If you want to take holes all the way up to the rim, you can. I don't recommend it because that gives your fish a lot more chance to jump out the top of the bucket or the lid whenever we get to showing you how to. I'm gonna show you how to do a lid too for it. So I'm gonna do 4 on this one. So we're gonna do mark 4 inches all the way around this bucket. And you can eyeball this if you want. I'm a little OCD in that aspect. And then we're going to come 4 on the bottom, all the way around as well. So, got all my lines made, and I'm just going to join the lines together here. And on the bucket that I've got already made, I did not make lines like this. I'm doing this for the video, just so you can see the process. All right, so you can see here, so in between the bottom line and the top line, this is where we're gonna drill all of our holes out. I'm gonna evenly space them, as you can see in this, and that's what we're gonna have when we finish. We're gonna get started on that. Like I said, this will be time-lapse footage. I'm gonna do a few holes, kind of show you. I mean, it's drilling. If you know how to use a cordless drill and drill a hole in anything, you can do this. It's, quite honest with you, it's pretty idiot-proof. So what we're gonna do is get them going. And it don't take much because it'll eat through this plastic in a heartbeat. You gotta watch it drifting on you, so put some pressure. Because on that flat, smooth plastic, that bit, unless you've got a pointed bit, that bit will drift. All you gotta do is push down though, because like I said, it's soft plastic, it'll go. But there's the holes. So we'll time lapse it and get going. All right, guys, got her finished up here. You can see all the way around it. Got her drilled. Got a few more holes to drill here for the top, but before we do that, one thing I didn't mention that you're going to need that I forgot to mention, piece of sandpaper. Fine grit, this is 220, just something. Alright guys, I got a little heavier grit sandpaper, just because I personally don't like the lines on it, so we're going to sand it off real quick. Alright, good enough to where I won't notice it, but like I said, you don't have to do the line. I just did it for demonstration purposes for the video. So sorry that few minutes of sanding the line off is on video, but like I said, my OCD couldn't take it. So, but there's your bucket, your basket. So next thing we're going to do is we got to do our float around the top, drill holes so we can do our tie wraps and put our handle on it. So what you're gonna do, take a pool noodle. You're gonna want to just split this thing down the middle. You got two halves. You're only going to use one half. So, and it just so happens since I had the orange Home Depot bucket, I bought an orange float for it. So, the ridges of the top and the lip, that's where you want to put this because you want to leave room for your lid. If you want to use a lid, you don't have to. So, let's get this to form. There we go. Just cut the end off. Measure it there. And she fits tight. This is what it's going to look like around the top once we get it set where we want it. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark a hole top and a hole right underneath it, right underneath here, so we can run our tie wraps through to hold it on. You can do this with paracord as well, however you want to do it. Tie wraps mean it's easier to replace if one breaks and all that good stuff. So let's see. There, and I'm doing it about every 4 or 5 inches just because I want it to stay on. So, as you can see, I got holes marked there. Those are going to be for our tie wraps, just to hold it all together. Alright, so there you go. Now we're going to get some tie wraps. And I didn't buy any tie wraps for this. I'm using what I have in the garage. So I may have to actually double up each one. Yep, I'm going to have to. So we'll just double them up. But it'll work. So what we're going to do, tie wrap, we're going to tie wrap through top hole. And like I said, I'm having to double up just because the tie wraps that I currently have aren't really long enough. There we go. Like I said, I got a little bump right here, bump out. On the side. One little last tie wrap, and then we'll snip them off and put the handle on. Then we'll talk about the lid, because the lid's optional. You're going to want a lid on it for your bait and everything, especially if you're kayaking, all that kind of stuff, or camping out. Alright, so there she is. So let's get a pair of snips. For those that don't mess around with tie wraps too much, a couple things on tie wrap. You're going to be tempted to come in and just snip it straight across like this. Don't do that. That'll leave a sharp edge. You will cut yourself on that tie wrap. When you cut a tie wrap, you want to go straight on with it like this and snap it that way, And what that'll do is that'll take that edge off of it, and it kind of mushes it together versus leaving a straight edge on it. See, I can rub my finger across that tie wrap the way I'm doing it. If I would have cut that thing just horizontal straight across, it'd have been sharp as a razor blade, and I wouldn't have been able to run my finger across it. And that's the last thing you want when you're out is cut your finger. So there she is, cleaned up. So now what we're gonna do with our paracord is we're gonna make a new handle here. And what I like to do is my seam where our pull noodles meet, I'm just gonna punch a hole right there. And then we're going to eyeball it across, and we're going to punch a hole right there. And we're going to go through the pull noodle. We'll do that. Then thread our paracord in there. Have it in there. So with it frayed, I'm just snipping it off so it's a little less frayed. And then what I'm gonna do, take a little lighter and melt the end of it. Give me a solid tip to feed through that hole. There we go. So find your hole. And feed it right through. So what I do here, guys, and I know there's going to be a bunch of people say, oh, why don't you do that? Why are you using that? There's other ways you can do that. Yes, there is. But how I like to secure the rope in here, in case it breaks and I want to replace it easily and all that, that's what the washers are for. Run the washer on, figure out how long you want your handle to be. That's about where I want mine right there. So then I take that spare nut that I've got, run it on there, and then what we're going to do in here, it's hard to see, but what we're going to do, we're going to tie a knot off right here and cut that paracord and then burn the end of that paracord, and that nut will never slip back off. So what we're going to do, tie a knot in here, right up against that nut, cut the end of that paracord, cinch that knot down, and I'll show you all this after I get it done. And we're going to, like I said, cut that paracord off, the excess, and then we're going to burn the end of that paracord and melt it to the knot. And once you do that, that nut will never slip. That nut will never slip. So, the second one here real quick, get it done, and then I'll show y'all. Like I said, I know there's probably 10 different ways and different things that can be done to do this. This is how I put a handle on the bucket. I'm not telling you it's the only way. I'm just showing you do it yourself of how I make these buckets, these bait buckets and portable live wells, essentially what it is. If you have some ideas, make your own, do improvements, hit me up, let me know. I'd be more than happy to see somebody take the idea and go a step further with it or improve it. Okay. So this is what we got here. All right. So that's what the handle looks like on the inside. It is loose, it will come back in so you can store it if it's portable, so you don't want that rope hanging out all over the place. Other side looks like that right there. So it makes it real easy, costs me nothing because I have the extra nuts and stuff, and you see me pulling this thing, that is not slipping at all. So that's how we handle that. Now let's talk about the lid. So on my bucket that we're copying here, what I did for the lid on it, I bought this. It's a Fraybill 5-gallon bucket lid. It had a hinge door. I reinforced it with tie wraps. And it fits right on there and stays on nice and good. Okay, it's like $6, $7, $8, something like that. at Academy. So that's what I use, just so I don't have to have a bucket lid, buy a bucket lid, and cut a bucket lid. But here's a lid that I had for a 5-gallon bucket. It actually goes to a Lowe's bucket. But what you can do on that is you can cut it however you want to cut it to put your fish in. So you want the lid because, like bait fish, your bluegill and all that stuff, if you leave it open, they're going to jump out. Like go out, catch some catfish, bring home some crappie, something like that. You want to use it as your bait bucket on from the bank, because I'll tell you, and this is why I built this thing. So anybody ever been bank fishing in a pond, lake, it's got large snapping turtles or even snakes, and have a nice little stringer of fish, and all of a sudden you pull a stringer up of fish and they're all gone or half eaten from snapping turtles, or you got a water snake or a water mosquito attached to the back of them. This solves that problem. This is the reason that I started building these buckets to use. I've used them on kayaks, because kayaks you don't have any way to keep anything except for on a stringer. You don't really have any way to carry live bait with you. Works perfect. Same with john boats. I grew up fishing in john boats in Arkansas with my grandparents, how I learned how to fish. And nowhere to keep anything except for a heavy cooler in the bottom of the boat. Well, personally, got a cooler in the boat, should have beer in it, not fish. So this eliminates that problem. With the lid, if you don't want to pay the $6 for the fray bill, the lids at Lowe's are like $1.99. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out a circle in the top of it so you can just stick your hand in or fish. So we'll do that and we'll be finished up here. So give me a minute and I'll show you how I cut it. All right, so for me, how I'm going to cut it is with just a utility knife with a brand new blade in it. Be careful. What I do, I'll show you. I like to score down the middle and get it cut like that. See, I got it scored in the middle. Then we're going to score it the other way, almost like cutting a pizza. Be careful because that plastic is sharp. So that's what we're going to do. So we got it scored there. We got it split there. So then we're just going to take our knife, get on a flat surface here, and just cut it out. And once I get the first one cut, so we got that cut out. There's the first triangle. I'm gonna hit the rest of them here real quick. And with this plastic on these lids, once you score it, they'll typically just snap right off once you score it with this blade. I just scored it in there. So, and of course, you want to go back and clean it up. And at that point, it's real easy to clean up with the blade. Now I'm going to take that sandpaper we used and hit it with the sandpaper, because one, you don't want any sharp edges, because you're going to have to be sticking your hands in this thing. So, there you go. So, put that on your bucket. There you go. And your crappie and catfish ain't going to jump out of that, because remember, your water line is going to be 4 inches down from the top of your bucket. So they're going to be swimming down in there while this is floating, in your yak and everything. So that's the finished product. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to drive out to the little pond down the street, and I'm going to show you how it floats and all that good stuff. So hold tight. I brought the bucket out here. I'm going to show you all what it looks like in the water and everything. I mean, like I said, it's not rocket science, but finish it out. But one thing I didn't mention, if you want to put a retrieve line or an anchor line on the handle of the bucket, I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. We'll tie it on there. Just it's a longer rope so you can get out in a little deeper water with it, tow it behind your kayak, boat, whatever, off the bank. I'm gonna flip it around here and I'll show y'all what I'm talking about. It's a retrieve line on it, like you have, but so with the bucket, you don't throw it out there because of course, you know, you get the hole in the top on the lid. Just sit it in the water like that and it'll take on water and it sinks. See? Right there. And she'll float. And you can see inside of it, it doesn't fill up to the top. So you can sit there and with all the holes around it, I mean, you don't need that many holes to make it take on water. Part of the holes is the oxygenation. It keeps that flow of water constant in and out of the bucket. That's the same principle with a minnow bucket. Whenever you got your minnow bucket with the holes in the slit, not only to get water in, but it circulates that water for you. So that's what we're looking at there with the bucket. And then when you pull it out, if you look, that's why we did 5 inches on the bottom. It keeps water in it, so your bait fish can still swim around while you're getting your fish or ready to go. So that's really the bucket. Now what I do, if I'm going out meat hunting and gonna bring some fish home, or I'm saving my bait for the bait tank or whatever, I do bring another 5-gallon bucket, fill it halfway full of water, push this one down in it, and all my bait stays alive and my fish stay fresh until I get home because they're constantly got water in it. So that's how this bucket works. Do it yourself. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you can use it. Even take an idea of it and modify it. If you do, I'd love to see the video and comments. Again, guys, sorry I haven't done a whole lot of videos, but you know, like I said, average Joe, I got a day-to-day 9-to-5 job, so you can't do videos all the time, but I'm gonna try to do better this year. So I do appreciate it if you like and subscribe, share the video, make comments. Let's get it moving this year. Hey, hope to see you on the bank sometime. And like they say, there's a reason they call it fishing and not catching. God bless. See y'all later.